Hi, J-Phil people. Okay, so I was sitting here and I was just thinking, like, I tried on this wig because this was a wig that I dyed for somebody who ended up not getting the wig because it wouldn't come in time. But I personally put the highlights in. And if you know me, you know I don't do that. If you didn't know, I'm owner of Bold Statement Boutique where we sell luxury hair. Um, and I'm trying to relaunch. So I'm going to do an end of season sale for the inventory that I have now, and then we're going to do a nice little relaunch. Um, so I will be selling this one, but I, tried it on and everything. And I was like, "Ooh, this color actually looks nice on my chocolate," because sometimes you got to be careful when you're doing certain colors. My thing is, I feel like you can wear a good chunk of colors as long as they're not too picky on your skin tone and you have good roots. Like good roots and certain textures and things like that. But I've been liking brown, like chocolate on my chocolate. I've been liking the way that it looks on my skin. And then I was looking at myself and I was like, are you oh fine, girl? Like, you are fine, girl. Like, you know? And I was just thinking, and I was like, man, I wish everybody looked in the mirror and felt that way about themselves. I wish everybody would look at themselves and say, man, I'm hot. Like, I am hot. And not in a conceited way, not in a, um, what is it called? Not in a comparative way, because some people are like, oh, I'm hotter than this person, or I think I'm more beautiful than this person. You don't need to judge, compare them. When I tell people I think I'm hot because I just think I'm hot. And I think that there's many other hot people, and I don't have a hot radar. I don't know who's hotter or hottest and this and that, but I just know I'm hot. You know what I mean? And I feel like everybody should feel that way about themselves, because honestly, nobody's really ugly. Some people might be unkempt, some people might be, not taken care of and things like that. And you can see the inside on the outside. Like, I know I probably didn't look as vibrant when I was going through my divorce, or, like the moments of postpartum depression and just little things like that. Like, I probably didn't look myself in those moments, because at that moment, like I'm dull. I'm not really myself. I'm not really feeling vibrant. I also wasn't really taking care of myself like that. I wanted to stay in in pajamas all day, and like I wasn't really thinking about getting dressed and trying to be a fine girl or all this other stuff. And granted, I'm not wearing any makeup now, nothing, no, nothing, like really nothing. I ain't got nothing on my face, and I just threw this wig on and thought I looked gorgeous. And I think everybody should get to that point. But this is not a point that I've always been at. I remember when I was in high school, I loved dancing so much. I always call dance my first love. Now that I know Jesus is my first love. But I used to say that it was the first thing that I loved, and it loved me back. Because there's something about dance, no matter how tired I am, no matter how much my body aches, no matter how heavy I get, no matter what, nothing. If there's music and a dance floor and room for me, you go see me there. Okay? Like, I'm dancing. I love dancing. So I remember in dance, you had to be very vulnerable, because sometimes if we're doing ballet, you're wearing a leotard and tights. And I have always been overweight. Um, I was probably the size I am now at maybe 10. So you can only imagine at that point, I'm probably a good 5 or 6 inches shorter than I am right now, and on top of that, the same weight I am now. So I was a hefty little girl. I was always very big. I remember I used to think that it was cool that my age and my shoe size matched. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was 9, I wore a 9. When I was 10, I wore 10. At 11, I wore 11. And 12, I wore 12. Funny enough, now I wear a size 10. 10, 11, depending on the shoe. But, I just thought that that was so interesting that, I found this love in something that just felt so good. And it was like, no matter where I was, I could command a room. No matter where I was, no matter how big I was, no matter anything, because everything, like, when I dance with my face, I dance with my eyes, I dance with my heart. Like, I am there. It's like I'm not just dancing to be dancing, and I'm just like one and two and three, and it's like one, two, three. Let's, like, I am ready. Let's go. So because of that, sometimes I would get good rapport, but there was a time I was in elementary school and we had to do ballet, and I wore a shirt that was really short, and I just had tights on. It just came like maybe to the top of my hips. And then I had tights, like tights that cover your feet that you usually wear, and people wear a tutu over it. I didn't have a tutu to wear over it. And I got on the stage and we were performing for school. And I borrowed my mom's shirt, which I was wearing with the tights, and I had to stand in the middle of the stage when they opened the curtain. And I remember they opened the curtain and the whole school started laughing. I was in elementary school. I would never forget this. The whole school started laughing, and I ran off the stage and I cried so bad. And I don't know if it did something to me, because I just love dance so much that I told myself, I don't ever want to feel like that again. So I would stand naked in the mirror. We had a mirror behind the door in our bathroom. And before I got in the shower, I would stand naked in the mirror and tell myself everything I loved about myself. I don't know who taught me to do that or who told me to do that, but I knew I had to find the love in me. Now, in a way, it kind of messed up because I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the years were going on, and I didn't know how to attack my health or to work on my health or all those other, I didn't understand that until, much later. But it helped me love myself enough or see the beauty in myself. The problem was, okay, I was able to see the beauty in myself, so I would dress up. I would dance. I would always think I was beautiful. I would always think that I'm attractive and things like that. But I didn't feel like I was worthy of love. It's weird. It's like physically I knew I looked good, but I still felt like there was something in me that was unlovable. And that's a topic for another day, because that was just from, some other things that happen in life. But all I can say is, people don't always owe you an apology for the way that you were treated or neglected or what you lacked. And you can't be a full-grown adult still blaming somebody for what they did at your 8-year-old self, because it holds you back. It holds you stagnant. It keeps you stuck. That person has moved on. They may not even remember. Sadly, they might have been so bad that they've done it to so many people and they don't really care, or they black out, so many other things that you are waiting for this person to know something that you are holding on to. It's your responsibility to heal. It's your responsibility to forgive. This is why God asks us to forgive, and forgive it many times, 70 times 7. We always hear it, but it's not for that person. You're not releasing them. You're not saying that what they did to you was good. You're not praising or giving them accolades because you forgave them. You're forgiving them so you can move forward and become your greatest potential. That's a piece in your story. And it's unfortunate, but there is a lesson behind it. There is, at least now, when you see other people who go through certain things, you can relate. You can be compassionate on them. You can see that some people are just broken and hurt and disgusted. Sometimes even when you think back and you think to the age of some of the people, because when I think of some of the things that happened to me, when I was young, I could only imagine what was going on in their home that made them do that to me. because that wasn't happening in my house. I was running away from my house because I felt like there was nobody there. You know, my parents worked all the time. They were tired. My siblings were much older, so people weren't in the house. So I was running to find friends and find love and find, you know, family, or in essence, you know, somebody to take care of me. And me looking back and thinking of the ages of, like, if I'm 8, and I think maybe one of the boys was like 14, 13, you know, and I look at my nephew who's 14, how innocent he is in a sense, and how some things he doesn't need to be exposed to. And like, you don't just get exposed to certain things like that unless, you know, they fall into your lap. Or you don't know certain things like that unless it's happening on a regular. And the sad part is that sometimes we do what we're taught. And I know for some people, this probably is very painful to hear. For some people, you know, this might be a very emotional topic, because it's like, excuse me, somebody abused me. You know, somebody, you know, I don't even want to name things because I can only imagine what some people have gone through. And some of you will probably be shocked of the things that I've gone through. But forgiveness is for you. And it's for you to be able to move forward. And it's for you to be able to heal. And it's for you to not repeat the cycle and not be that person, even in a different capacity, because sometimes you don't do the things as gruesome, but you are emotionally abusive, and by being unavailable and thinking that it's not a big deal, or I went through crap, why you expect me to be compassionate towards you, and you're hurting somebody else in another way, and feeling like, but I didn't touch you, but I didn't slap you, but I didn't do all these other things, right? But you are still hurting somebody. Because you didn't deal with the pain that happened to you when you were little. And you owe yourself that forgiveness. Forgive that person for what they've done. And forgive yourself for being innocent and not knowing what to do. And for all the things that translated in life from those moments unconsciously. Some of the relationships you might have been in, some of the people you might have encountered, some of the things you might have done. Give yourself that get out of jail free card, because you owe that to yourself. So you can truly love yourself. Because I had to sit in a mirror naked and look at everything that everybody talked about. My belly, my legs, me being knock-kneed, you know, me having really big thighs, and, you know, just a hanging belly, like I was pregnant when I never had a child, just being huge. And I had to look at everything and say, I love those rolls on my belly. I love this loose skin on my arms. I love everything about me. And I think I'm beautiful. And it's even more amazing now that I know God, because God said we are beautifully and wonderfully made. Nobody is ugly. Nobody is ugly. Do you hear me? You are not ugly. You should behold your own beauty. You should find the beauty within yourself and never let go of it. You should own your intellect, your creativity, your ability to love, even when people are not very loving, because that's an art. Now, we apply wisdom, because when we know better, we do better. You know what I'm saying? Y'all peep what I'm saying, right? But don't think it's foolishness because you love people, you know. But you still have to love yourself. And the Lord also asks us to love ourselves first. after he has loved us. So understand what God's love looks like on you, and love you that way. So you can also love other people, right? I don't know how I digressed here into this, but I just felt like talking because I was like, I looked at myself and I thought I was so beautiful. And I wish everybody looked at themselves and felt that way. Now, there are some days that I'm like, ooh, girl, hey, my hair be all over the place and little things, and I see myself and I laugh about it. But I don't think I'm unworthy to walk into a room. I don't think I'm unworthy to see somebody. I don't think I'm unworthy for somebody to see me. And I know what it feels like to feel that way because at one point I did. So I pray that whoever's listening to this that never had that love or that accolade or that validation, that God gives them the strength and the wisdom and the understanding to start to see themselves the way that God sees them, as a beautiful creation, created to walk this earth and others to see you. And you don't have to have makeup on. You don't have to be wearing a wig. You don't have to do all this extra stuff, for it. You should just see yourself and see the beauty in you, because you are beautifully created. You have a beautiful mind. Your gifts and talents, even if other people have them, they are not you. Your experiences, good and bad, all mold you into a beautiful being that can touch another being, because we're all blessed to be a blessing in whatever capacity. And yeah, I just want to tell you guys that. So, behold your own beauty, because you are beautiful. Nobody is ugly. Now, some of y'all, you might have some hygiene things. Now, that's a story for another day, because we just need to do better. That's one thing. You can't be unkempt. But that doesn't mean you're ugly. You just need to learn some things. And for some people, they were unnurtured. Like, if you knew me back in the day, let me tell you, I was ashy. You would not think I would turn out to be the girl that I am now if you knew maybe 8-year-old me. Totally different person. Okay? So, yeah. Behold your own beauty. Stay wonderful, stay positive, stay beautiful, stay blessed, and know you are loved by beautiful people.